And there we are. Welcome into another episode of TigerBait Live. Buddy Songy in the studio with us tonight. Of course, we're brought to you each and every week by the great folks over at Pride Roofing, Mike Ferry and Alex Martinez, and of course, Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial. And we're going to talk about both of those great sponsors later on in the show. But a lot of recruiting info. We might even talk a little bit about Sean Payton giving his retirement a little bit today. That's pretty much notable news. We had a big day of press conferences. Kim Mulkey, Will Wade today. Both of them want to get back in the win column after a rough weekend and in LSU men's case, 3 straight losses. So we've got that to talk about. I think a lot of you are probably going to want to talk recruiting. But as always, do me a favor, hit the like and share button. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscription and notification bell. And how's it going, buddy?
Good to see you, Michael. And as always, let's rock and roll, folks. Let's have a quick one today. Of course, Preston is a stickler for time, so we got to be out of here about 7:57. I love doing this early stuff on Tuesdays. A lot of stuff breaking. Sean Payton, I am not the biggest of Saints fans, but appreciate what he's done for 15 years. But I had a guy from New Orleans tell me something, and I didn't really gravitate to it, Mike, until he said it. And it's the guy that I do Tigers Roar with. He said, listen, man, that guy, that coach, that team got me over Katrina. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is that isn't it amazing how we have these hurricanes and the good Lord blesses us with national championships or Super Bowl championships. So I do think Coach Payton is a little burnout right now, and I think it's probably a great decision. But when you think about it, that game coming back after Katrina and then invariably winning that Super Bowl in 2009, and, of course, LSU winning in 2003, 07, 19, it's kind of nice to realize just how important football is in this state, Mike.
Well, you know what? Jacques Doucet had a tweet earlier that just – and you would never look at him and think that way. But did you know that he's actually older than Jimmy Johnson and Bill Cowher when they retired?
Mm-hmm.
Would you have guessed that?
Well,
Is it just because his looks, boyish face?
58 years old, just got married, and said that, he's happy, and most people feel like he'll either end up in TV or take a year off and be a coach somewhere else.
I don't think you do a 2-hour press conference if you're leaving and you're about to turn around and be a coach somewhere else.
Yeah. It was a lot more emotional. And I'll just say this real quick, and let's get to a lot of people. Let's rock and roll, a lot of recruiting. But just think about it. You go back 2 years, a calendar year. Of course, January 20, and then you get into 13 with LSU winning it, and you get into the Super Bowls and all that. But no longer Drew Brees and Sean Payton, no longer Ed Orgeron and Joe Burrow, all in a short span of 2 years. Enjoy it while you have it, folks. It moves quickly.
Did you hear him say that he was pulling for the Bengals, but he didn't care for the Who Day?
Yeah, and everybody, all the LSU fans are joking now that maybe LSU will have a player that's drafted by the Saints. But look, back and forth. My whole point is congratulations on doing what you have to do and getting out when you burn out. But thanks once again because, Mike, I'm being honest. You grew up, the Saints were horrible. And so you look at the last 20 years, we've been pretty damn fortunate with Tigers and Saints.
Well, it's you follow the Saints a lot more than I do because you got to cover a lot of topics on your show each and every day. So, I don't know if he sees it being an insurmountable deal to get the Saints back on track with salary cap and lack of a quarterback and what all that's going to be, but we'll see. I don't know how good he would actually be on TV.
Yeah.
But he's made enough money where he don't need it. And he just said, he just built a new house. So, but that's enough Saints talk, guys.
Let's get into this LSU
Tony
football.
Williams, let me do one thing here real quick. All right, got that fixed. All right, Tony Williams says, what's up, guy? Glad to have you with us, Tony. Texas Tiger, one of our big TigerBait subscribers, says he's checking in. And he also sends a super chat and says LSU recruiting is on fire. No doubt we saw, and I took some notes before the show. We got Danny Lewis. In fact, I actually had multiple recruits reach out and reply back to me just an hour ago Danny Lewis arrives for his official visit tomorrow. Of course, he's the Westgate tight end. Nick Saban has just offered him late. And then you've got a big weekend of official visitors this weekend. Jalen Davis Robinson from Waxahachie, Texas, says he's going to be visiting. He's the cornerback that got offered yesterday. Caleb Douglas, he's tweeted out about 30 minutes ago a picture of him with Coach Hankton and Coach Brian Kelly in his house right now. So, and he's coming for an official visit this weekend, along with Jacoby Mathews, Harold Perkins, and our guy Blake Ruffino had a tip that Jimbo Fisher flew into Hammond, and he's at Jacoby Mathews' house right now. So it's going to be very interesting. Of course, Harold Perkins kicked off the week yesterday morning by decommitting from Texas A&M. They've been in meltdown mode for about 24 hours, calling him Zach Evans 2.0. And so that one can still go many directions. But I did say last week when he did that interview at that All-Star game, and I think it uploaded at like 3 in the morning. And that morning, everybody woke up and they were melting down. I happened to be up and saw it when it was uploaded. But, yeah, it didn't look good for LSU, but I also felt that it didn't sound good for Texas A&M either. Like, you know, how secure were you if you're an A&M fan? Because he was wishy-washy all the way around. So I know last week Frank Wilson was meeting with the uncle, and they've done their due diligence. So we're going to see how strong they finish next week. And I think there's some Billy Napier stuff out there where Florida's out there in the weeds looking to see who they can pick off. You know, do they make something very interesting here, whether it be with Citizen and some others. LSU's going up against Florida on several kids late with Billy Napier and Corey Raymond and Jabbar Jalouk and that whole cast. So it's going to be an interesting next 7 or 8 days, and you're also still watching transfer portal kids.
Yeah, and I'll just say this, you know, the last couple of shows, Mike, we had 2 or 3, 4 or 5, maybe even 10 who were lamenting, oh, man, these are guys, you know, we're taking Arkansas, this and FIU, and this guy and that guy, and ULL, and, you know, this guy is a proven winner, and he has a history of going about it very meticulous. And, you know, every now and then you got to ruffle the feathers, and you did when Saban was over at Catholic High and all that, and they took notice of that. But I think attention to detail, very meticulous, another recruiting analyst type off the field hiring from NC State, very, very impressive with his support staff all the way from strength and condition. And you can just see it, Mike. This guy is going to build LSU back in a totally different way than it was done in 19, which is something I don't think any of us are going to see. If you tell me they're going to average 400 yards a game passing and 48 points a game, I don't think I'll be around if that ever happens again. But the point is, I like the way the chips are falling into and the pieces are falling into place. And it's masterful the way you're doing the high schoolers and the portal to make that number all fit and work.
I would love to be a fly on the wall in some of these meetings. And so, yeah, it's.
But most people I talk to now are happy. 2 weeks ago, they had a big question mark up.
Yep, and you mentioned earlier, Corey Phillips is another guy that's on staff now. Comes from NC State. After a year, was at Vanderbilt 5 years before that. He was a standout player at Austin Peay. And he's going to be a director of scouting or whatever the title is going to be. He's going to be in player personnel, and he comes highly thought of. And I confirmed that he's actually already in town. Yeah. So they are moving at light speed on a lot of this stuff right now. And I always joke around about, there was a lot of guys in the building. You never could really figure out whose job description was what, whose actually daily duties there was. But I don't think that's going to be the case with Brian Kelly. And I think as he's gotten the lay of the land, and look, and we say it each and every week just about, there's some guys in that building that lost their jobs that were really some good people. They're going to end up, somewhere else. Dwayne Thomas was a guy that we talked about with Harold Perkins. I know just a month or two ago, the thought is that LSU was very much in the driver's seat for Harold Perkins because of the job that Dwayne Thomas, of course, former LSU defensive back from New Orleans, was doing on him. And he was one of those guys that got cut loose after the Texas Bowl.
Yeah. Well, my point is that, you take all this into consideration, and, oh, by the way, it never hurts the LSU brand. It never hurts LSU recruiting when you got Burrow and Chase in the AFC Championship game against Darrell Williams, the Honey Badger, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So you're getting that momentum. You're getting that LSU brand out there. Andrew Whitworth, of course, is with the Rams, and he's been hurt and don't know if he'll be back. But my point is that it's all coming together, and, we still think it's a rebuild. But as I told some people 2-3 weeks ago, if you throw in a number against the wall on how many games they're going to win, I just think it's a crapshoot because this stuff happens quickly. NIL is still every day a factor with these kids. But what I'm getting to is that most people I talk to are appreciably happier today, moving into the 8 days away from the next signing period, than 2-3 weeks ago, because they're realizing this guy that got the job is a true professional.
Blaine Smith, is LSU getting the corner from Oklahoma State? And we were talking about that before we went live, Bernard Converse. And, of course,
I hope so.
Thursday is the last day to late enroll. But is he necessarily a guy, because he is a grad transfer, does he need the spring semester at Oklahoma State before he can come?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I think that might be part of what's going on here. So I'm still trying to get some bits and pieces. I've reached out to Jarek a few times. These guys who have been through recruiting once already and obviously been many years in college, they're not as apt. The transfer portal kids are not as apt to do interviews as your high school kids.
Well, and look,
because they've been through the wars already.
You're still going through Derek Stingley Jr., Eli Ricks, Cardell Flott, and Dwight McLaughlin. That's 4 corners that, poof, are gone. And now you're building this thing back, and we talked about need areas. Mike, offensive line, continuing to work there. Linebacker, continue to work. This DB, you're going to need a program for 2022 with the secondary.
Jack Chilli, should we be worried about the tight end Danny Lewis? No, Danny told me that indeed 100% he arrives for his official visit tomorrow. So you're talking about a kid who's coming for an official visit that starts on a Wednesday, and he's going to be the only guy. Talk about the red carpet treatment that he's going to get for the next 48 hours. That kid's probably going to be eating Ruth Chris for lunch.
And he was committed to Den Brock in Cincinnati, and so
Yeah.
you like that relationship. I understand you have that fear factor.
Because Alabama came in and offered.
Well, and Nick thinks he's the Honey Badger Jr. because he comes in and takes what he wants, as evidenced by those 3 guys last year. That all being said, I want to see this kid. I think he's going to fit nicely with this offense that LSU has.
And Keyshawn Butte, also from Westgate, stayed. Keyshawn Butte is a folk hero in New Iberia, and he's like the big cheese to those guys like Danny Lewis and are coming up. So don't discount that. That is also a factor. So I'll be curious to hear about how Keyshawn Butte's swinging in after class to say hello while he's there for his official visit.
Get Butte, get Lewis, get it done.
Yep. Albacilla, Tyler Shelvin plays for the Bengals. Yeah,
Yes, but he hadn't been playing.
Yeah, well, he was in there the other day.
But I'm very low.
Yeah, but he. We're all talking about Joe and Jamar.
And, of course, Thaddeus Moss is also on, I think, the
Practice
injured
squad
reserve or practice squad, either one.
whatever they call it.
But look, all those guys, all props to them, especially Shelvin. I remember, and you used to, and I talked about him, and of course he gained that weight. But God, it's a shame he didn't have a little more discipline because he would have probably made a few more bucks. But if he can get his body in shape, he's a big man, and you got to double blocking.
Blaine Smith, I saw Wiggins got a 5-star. I think that's high, Blaine. I really do.
What's that?
Quincy Wiggins got a 5-star by the R Network.
Well, you know Quincy, and we've all followed him. I think he is a raw prospect.
Very, very raw. But I tell you what, if you want to say athletic, size, length, likable kid, smart kid, you're going to give him a 5-star. But I think he's kind of like, and believe me, I talk to coaches at Madison Prep all the time. I think he's similar to Savion Jones, a raw, athletic, long kid.
Going to take a couple years.
It's going to take a couple of years. So that's why I would leave him as a very high 4. I wouldn't have gone 5. But I do note who's the kid that I've been beating the drum on, and I made a post about it on the Tiger Den earlier today. Aaron Anderson got a 5th star, didn't he? Yeah.
By the way, Danny Lewis.
He was barely a 4-star over there for most of the year, and he gets a 5th star a week before signing day.
Well, you understand all that.
And like I said on my board, I'm not insinuating because there's an Alabama bias.
I am.
But what I will insinuate,
He's the real deal.
First of all, it's ridiculous because the recruiting analyst is a few blocks away from there. I don't know what fight there was on the phone call, but the recruiting rankings on the networks are horrendous. And not only have they been bad the last few years, I think they're getting worse. And the staffs are now getting sliced and diced and less. And you've got recruiting analysts having to cover, 5, 6 states. It's asinine. And you can't rate kids off a huddle. That's the end of my rant.
By the way, one other tidbit on Quincy Wiggins. We know that he's got a super tight relationship with the Lord. And just once again, thank you, good Lord, for him to escape serious injury on that freak thing. What was that, a couple weeks ago or whatever? So when you escape one of those, man, I just think he's a great young man. He's not been playing football that long, but, man, in 2 years, he could be held to block.
Charles Duncan, how much longer does Nick Saban stay in coaching? It seems more of a bigwigs are retiring. Nothing's forever.
Health. To me, it's going to be health.
It can be
related.
health, and when you lose like that to Kirby Smart and
that motivated.
And then this NIL stuff's just got to be eating him up.
Yeah.
So, he the older we get, the more you get that get off my lawn mentality, and Kirby's beat him, and I'm not going to count him out, but look, if he has another year without a national championship, what does he do?
Well, I'll just say
I don't
this.
know that he can tell it, but maybe does it take for him to not even make the playoffs? Is that what it's going to take?
Well, I know, jokingly, Miss Terry don't want him around the house all the time. And Nick has said in many interviews he's been doing this in 6 years, being a part of a team. We just saw him watching Arch Manning play basketball, so I don't think he's slowing down. I think Nick Saban will continue to coach as long as he feels like he's sharp and one of the best and healthy. And I will be honest with you. You look at that game this year, and you started to see a few of the faux pas. Now, Nick and I used to always argue, and I'd sit there and say, I'm fat and don't like to admit it, but you're conservative, especially before first half. What did he do? He sat on some timeouts, and those Alabama people start to say he's been doing that. So
if you agree with me, and I think in our poll on the front page of TigerBait, most people do agree that LSU's probably 2 or 3 years away from you even being able to, without anybody laughing you out of the room, that you think that they can win the West. Or, of course, in 2 or 3 years, it's not going to be that setup anymore. But let's just say go to Atlanta. Okay, if that's the case, would you rather Saban win it, the West, or next year, or would you rather him slide and give Jimbo that moniker, and then have those folks believing that they're the heir apparent to replace Alabama in the West?
I don't know. I mean, there's been enough pain with Alabama winning.
It's almost,
I don't want to hear those Aggies.
It's almost like you'd rather him hold on a little bit,
Yeah.
and then let Brian Kelly get through this growth period and rebuild, and then because I'm not buying in A&M, and I've already made the statement that I don't believe Jimbo will ever win the SEC.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this.
And I don't care how good his recruiting
From
is.
perception standpoint, you look a lot slower, a lot foggier, and a lot older when you lose a game, especially a championship game. And so now he got beat twice. Kirby beat him in the championship game. Jimbo beat him in the regular season. If that starts to happen with more occurrence, it might work out. But you mentioned NIL. In Alabama, they don't talk. They do things. They get it done. They got Gordon McKernan's slogan over there in reality. So Nick's bitching at the conference, him and Kirby, about NILs getting out of control. You see, he loved it because he could control what was going on under the table. Now this stuff over the table, he didn't like it that A&M figured out a better deal that they did, so they wanted to change that. Well, guess what? State of Alabama already changed all those NIL rules for him. So
Charles says, I'd rather LSU win the West than Bama or A&M. Of course, Charles, but they ain't doing it next year. That was the point I was making.
I know, but look, everybody's got their time coming at some point, so we'll have to wait and see. I'll tell you this, and that was the other question that people had about Brian Kelly at 60 years old. Does he have enough oomph and Tony the Tiger in the tank like Shaq? And I'll ask you.
Maybe we can split the baby and just let Lane Kiffin sneak in there 1 year. I don't know.
Come on, man. Get off Lane Kiffin. He's all these people. What happened with Lane Kiffin, folks?
Your boy at Arkansas. Somebody other than them, right? Okay. I want to talk about, of course, our big sponsor each and every week, Pride Roofing. And, guys, Tammy sent me another 2 yesterday that have jumped all over the promo. If you call them up for a free roof inspection, give them a call at 855-PRIDE-16 or 225-275-2041. Ask for your free roof inspection, whether it's residential or commercial, and say you heard about them on TigerBait. They're going to pay for you to have free TigerBait premium for a year. And, of course, we've got a lot going on TigerBait, so a lot of people are jumping on that deal. I got a couple more guys I got to email and get them hooked up with that tomorrow morning. So jump all over that. And again, we thank Mike and Alex for sponsoring us each and every week. And I'm going to go ahead and let's get their running here.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Alex.
Were you affected by Hurricane Ida?
Insurance claim, no problem.
Are you concerned about the shortage of building materials?
We have what you need.
We're licensed residential and commercial contractors.
In Louisiana and Mississippi.
We install shingles, metal, and commercial roofing from Baton Rouge to Slidell or Houma up to the North Shore.
We got you covered. Call Pride, 855-PRIDE-16.
Pride Roofing, the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
There you are, Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com.
Residential, metal, and commercial roofs. We've got repairs and maintenance, folks. Quick turnaround. They get there early. They get the job done. So many of the people that have done business with Pride Roofing. By the way, I've got my good-looking Pride Roofing hat on, and you're talking about wearing shirts to the gym with Pride Roofing. We're telling people about them because we believe in them. They take great pride. They're incredible people. Just had a big major acquisition with Crown Metals, and that is going to kick it up like Emerald Lagasse, boom, kicking up and bam, it's going to just blow up. But more so than anything, they care about how they treat you, and their reviews are just fantastic. Once again, as you said, with the numbers.
The stuff that they're going to be able to do with the metals company, Mike was telling me that they're not only going to be a roofing company, but the stuff that they're going to be able to retrofit and I need to get him in here to talk about it, but they're actually going to be able to supply other roofing companies with materials around the country.
Sure.
So
and great community partners, too.
Give Pride Roofing a call, 855-PRIDE-16. Again, Mike Faraday is a Broadmoor High graduate, an LSU grad from right here, born and raised in Baton Rouge. I grew up with him personally, and fantastic people. And usually when you call, you're going to talk to Miss Tammy. And, of course, that's Mike's wife, and she's as good as gold. So, Pride Roofing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And have really helped out a lot of people.
Yeah. Who dat? I think A&M will lose some of those 5 stars to the portal within the first 2 years. You know what, who dat? I was talking to someone about that yesterday when Harold Perkins decommitted. Because this guy I was talking to has seen him play. He probably went to half of his games last season. I'll say that. He thinks that Harold Perkins might need a year to learn the position because, he played running back. He's going to need to learn a college system. So, if he's at a place and he's sitting and maybe he's not happy, is that a kid who immediately, no matter where he signs, hits the portal because he's one of those kids? And so that's the problem you get into when you start seeing him do the interviews the way he does them, and not trying to scare anybody away from him, but that's the thing you got to guard against in this day and age of the transfer portal with no penalty for leaving and not having to sit out a year, and the NIL stuff, you can sit there and try and develop him and work him and teach him and bring him along. And then next thing you know, you've got some, former guy that he worked out with in Houston putting negative stuff in his ear when he goes home for the holiday.
Well, LSU going in on the house with him tomorrow night. He's coming in on the weekend. Jacoby Mathews visiting with Jimbo right now. So look, this is the when's the dead period start? Sunday
night.
Yeah. So I think you're gonna, Mike. I think you're gonna have a couple commitments here in the next couple of days, don't you?
I think
After this weekend, I mean.
Oh yeah. But there's going to be a few
before the dead period.
There's going to be a few of those. I mean, Harold Perkins already says he's doing it on signing day.
No, I know that, but I'm talking about there'll be a couple before Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, what does Danny Lewis do? Does Westgate do something on signing day? Some of these guys we'll see. But like Jarek Bernard Converse, what are we waiting on with him?
Yeah.
Mark J says he predicts a 9-3 season for the Tigers this year.
I like, and this is why I tell people it's hard, but if you pull up the schedule.
That's National Coach of the Year numbers right there.
But if you pull up the schedule, the first 4 or 5 games are very, very conducive to having a good start. And I think we all look at a lot of football, Mike, college or pro. And you know what's the important things? 2 things. The coach, the head coach and his staff, and the quarterback. Let's be honest. LSU fans don't know if it's going to be 8, 9, or 10 because you don't know who the quarterback is going to be. You don't know how long he's going to stay healthy. You don't know if you're going to play 2 or 3. So
we don't know if all 3 of the guys who are starting the semester right now are going to be the 3 that are there in August.
Well, my point is that quarterback, and all you got to do is look at Burrow and the rest of the great quarterbacks. And this is one of the reasons why Sean Payton left today. Because let me tell you what, after losing Drew Brees, what he had today was like going from Ruth's Chris Steak to McDonald's drive-thru.
Adam Ahmed, hey Mike, go Bengals, go Tigers, no doubt. There's anybody I talk to that, first of all, who hasn't been watching the Bengals all season long, have not thoroughly enjoyed watching what's happening there. It's infectious the way they play. They're fun to watch. I said it on my board yesterday. Fanatics, the biggest gear company worldwide, and who we have a relationship with TigerBait.
They send me emails all the time.
I would love to know how much Cincinnati Bengals gear they've drop shipped into Louisiana.
Yeah, it's
because I'm seeing it all over town. People wearing it, and so people have Bengals fever, and they're excited for Joe. And what's funny is watching all the talking heads. He's so cool. It doesn't faze him. He expects to be here, and Joe just keeps trugging along. And what do you mean we're not going to be in the Super Bowl? What do you mean we're not going to be in? I mean, they're going for it. I mean, he's not buying any of it, and they just can't believe that he can get sacked 9 times and still win a football game.
Well, their defense really stepped up last week.
Hit Jamar Chase on and out and get McPherson in field goal range to win it.
Of course, they've already beat Kansas City this year, and once again, this is the kind of good pub that, and I see these guys now that are in the Twitter world and pushing LSU, but you see what they're doing. You're seeing pictures of Jamal Adams and other great players, and you're putting those together with Harold Perkins and Jacoby Mathews and all that. Everybody knows this is all out, balls to the wall here for the next 8 days.
Yep. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I think 9-3 is high, guys. I'm seeing a couple.
I think it's too early to determine. We hadn't seen anybody out on the field yet, but if they go 9-3, I think people would be happy because you're building something for the future.
Scott Trahan, hope all is well. Love this show. How about Perkins and the big safety from Ponchatoula? Yeah, we've been talking about him a good bit already on the show tonight, and both of them visit officially this weekend. And by the way, those 2 are friends. And they've made statements in the past that they would go to the same school together. So,
well, and look, once again, much injected difference makers on defense. Now, and nobody knows how quickly you can come in and play. We knew Derek Stingley was one of the best in the country. But Mike, the kid made All-American and had 6 INTs for LSU in the national championship season. He didn't do anything the last 2 years after that. That's the problem that you have with what everything is going on. But how fast could Jacoby Mathews, have you seen the safety play at LSU the last couple of years? Have you seen it? He's going to get a chance to get his reps. And then, of course, once again, everybody knows that this guy is kind of spicy. He's got Tabasco. He talks a big game. Harold Perkins, how is that going to mesh with a no-nonsense professional coach? They may not hit it off. It might not fit. On the other hand, he may change Harold Perkins, and he's all in, and people are fired up. So we just don't ever know. But I think the bottom line
Brian
is
Kelly might be what Harold Perkins needs.
Exactly.
Maybe he needs to get out of town.
Exactly.
And I say the same thing about Le'Veon Moss. I think he needed to leave Baton Rouge.
Yeah,
I
no
do.
doubt.
He
did.
And so, now he's at A&M, but, I think Moss is a good kid. He needed to get away. Brian Madeira, hey, guys, the Generals should borrow the Strawberry Queen's point guard until the X-Man returns.
Look, we've been saying that.
Could Caleb Pointer get it done?
Caleb Pointer had 35. By the way, for those basketball guys, this is why we've been tweaking the shows on Tuesdays, because basketball is 8 o'clock tomorrow night. We didn't know if we wanted to squeeze it in right before the game or not. But that being said, Coach Wade this week saying doesn't look good for Darius Days and Xavier Pinson. Look, I've said it on numerous occasions on the radio show. If they could teach if Taylor Pointer could teach Eric Gaines how to play point guard, they'd have a better shot. But we'll see. Look, this is two big games now. Texas A&M tomorrow night at 8, and then TCU Saturday morning over there, 11 o'clock. You'd like to see LSU at least win one of those two.
Yep. I want to talk about our dear friend and, of course, a valuable sponsor of the show each and every week, Tony Freeman. So if you're thinking of buying a home, refinancing your current mortgage, but haven't found a lender you can trust, well, let me tell you about Tony Freeman over at Assurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. She's a very dear friend of mine and someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs repeatedly over and over. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. Tony offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer ready to buy a new home or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Please do me a favor. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And please tell her that you heard about her from TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765, Equal Housing Opportunity 70876.
And, tying in with Mike and Alex, Tony takes great pride in the job she does. And every person that I've talked to that have done business with Tony always tells me incredible attention to detail. She made me feel comfortable as soon as I came in. This is somebody that I'm going to talk to the rest of my life. And you know what? Every little I dotted and T crossed, she was right there. I mean, answered every question. She is another true professional.
Yeah, that's the whole deal. Everybody in here probably, or a lot of people in here have bought a home, and it's stressful. You go in and all of a sudden there's something on your credit report that you didn't know was there, and you got to get a document or something, and you need someone like her that's going to say, this is what we need to do. I know who to call, and she's going to get it all done for you. So she's absolutely the best. So give Tony Freeman a call. Guys, do me a favor. If you're enjoying the show, please do me a favor. Hit the like button. It really helps us with the algorithm. And again, hit the subscription button on YouTube and the notification bell. Whenever we go live, you'll immediately get an alert to your cell phone. And of course, not only that, we want you to go to TigerBait.com and subscribe and be a part of our growing TigerBait community. Our message board is thriving. We've got a lot of great posters. A lot of them are here in the chat tonight. And I'm there on our message board day and night. We're going to be sending you text alerts as commitments come with this big recruiting week coming up. We're going to be covering a lot of these press conferences. And any tidbits we get, we're going to be sharing on our message board. You'll get our newsletters, our text alerts. So go to TigerBait.com after the show's over with, subscribe. And like I tell y'all each and every week, choose the annual package versus the monthly, because when you do that, it's less expensive. You're basically getting 3 months free when you choose the annual. And I think there's also a spouse acceptance factor with it, because you only get billed once a year versus every month.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And look, folks, just a quick recap. Men's basketball tomorrow night at 8. Women play on the road Thursday. And, oh, by the way, Saturday at TCU. Early game, 11 a.m. And then, of course, as we said, Coach Kim Mulkey is welcoming back all the former players when they play Lady Cats from Kentucky on Sunday at 1 o'clock. There'll be over 50 former LSU Tigers. I'm sure Simone Augustus and many others will be there. So that's great. Of course, Jay Clark's had a tough go with COVID and a lot of cancellations in gymnastics. And, oh, by the way, Baseball Media Day is this Friday. And the first pitch get-together was this weekend, Sunday. And people, let me tell you what, Jay Johnson got people in the palm of his hands. They love that guy. I kid with him. I said, Coach, you're undefeated. I can't wait till you lose a game. He says, why is that? I said, I want you to see what Baton Rouge is like. But he is a true professional.
He's loving it.
And let me tell you, people love him and his staff.
He the banquet they had Sunday night. I was on a show in Alexandria that I do every week with Bart Smokey and T-Bone.
I'm sure he went.
And Bart wasn't on, so filling in for him was Warren Morris.
Oh, okay.
So I did a show with Warren Morris last night, and he wasn't able to make it, but everybody saw all the footage. Jacques Doucet, of course, was there and had a lot of interviews with Ben McDonald and so forth. But that looked like that event was off the chain because people are really, really excited about what LSU baseball is going to do this year. And I keep telling the story, but I don't know if you felt the same way, but I thought early on that maybe Jay wasn't going to be good with the media, or maybe he would be good initially, but eventually he'd be like, no, I don't want to do all those interviews. He hasn't shied away from any of it.
No.
I think you can't give him more interviews. He wants every. I don't know of any media guy that's ever told me that he's turned them down.
And how cool is this?
Which is to give Paul Maneri credit. Paul Maneri was the same way as well.
And both Skip Bertman and Paul Maneri still live in Baton Rouge, went to the event, and they are his sounding board. He can pick up the phone and say, Paul, when you had this happen, what'd you do? Skip, what do you think about this? So he's in Hog's Heaven right now, and it is going to be fun to see the box back really being a factor with LSU baseball. Jacob Berry, oh, by the way, Tiger Sharks are going to do some NIL deals with baseball players, and congratulations to him because I know he loves LSU baseball, but we're going to try to hook up and get a couple of interviews on here. And Jacob Berry and Dylan Cruz, they are going to be worth every dollar you spend to go see them this year.
Let's Go Brandon says, Mike, when do you sleep? Well, of course, he spells it Lesco. Let's Go Brandon.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I sleep, but I'm a bad night owl. I'll tell you that much. And, of course, the older you get, the less sleep you need. I couldn't sleep late like I used to. Buddy still calls me up when I call him at 9, and he says, what are you doing up? Yeah, I used to be able to do that. I can't do that anymore. Yeah, Charles Duncan was there, and he said both Paul and Skip looked great at the event. Keith H. says, I'm smashing the like button. We appreciate that. Texas Tiger says, let's go, E-A-U-X, you mean. Let's go, Brandon. Onion Stink asks, does Brian Kelly keep Durante Jones on the coaching staff in a different role? Now, was it you that ran at him the other night?
No.
No, it was Scott. Ran into him at
Julia's?
what's the steakhouse?
Oh, Rouge Chris?
No, the other one.
No.
Stabs.
Stabs. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
Leo Verde. Go see Leo Verde over at Stabs.
Yeah. I've never been there. So
I'll take you.
All right.
Look,
You don't want that bill that I gave Gilbo a few weeks ago.
Well, anyway, what I was going to say is that, I don't know, with time it's hard to, but we specifically asked the question and told people that you're going to hit rock bottom. Is it fair now to say that the bottom was hit and now LSU's back up trending on a good path? And I guess the question is that how much will the fan base want in year one and how quickly will they get there? Man, I'm telling you, it's just a gut feeling here. You see those videos, you see them working out. I think you're going to be a smarter, more disciplined team. I think they're going to be in better shape. It is going to take a while for these coaches, let's be honest, to get acclimated to what wins in the SEC, how conservative or aggressive they have to be on offense and defense. You're losing your kicker, Cade York. That's pretty much a given. You're losing your punter, which Avery Atkins, God bless his soul, he's the best kickoff man. So you're replacing a lot of people. But I'm excited the way this thing is getting built. I really am.
Well, and I haven't heard anything on Durante Jones, but I said it last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. Like, McMahon's staying here. He's not. He's done. But he's staying here, living here.
And Jake Peets might be an analyst, and Durante Jones, I would think.
I mean, McMahon. You want to talk about LSU? Name a year under McMahon. Maybe you could say, well, that punter wasn't as good as that guy or whatever. But LSU special teams have been fantastic since the day he took over the job.
Except in the return game. And I want to see LSU get back to returning punts and kickoffs a little bit better.
Well, but I think that's by design. I think that they chose to field punts versus the return.
But you got to admit, Stingley, we thought Stingley was going to be a lot better, more of an impact player at punt return.
Well, I mean, but Trey Palmer had a few moments.
And, of course, he's left and going to Nebraska.
Yeah. But Trey Palmer on the end around, I'm glad I'll never see that again.
Yeah.
The biggest wasted play in LSU's offense the last 2 years.
But anyway, back to the original question on Durante Jones, I think we're just going to have to wait and see. And also, with all these coaching changes, Mike, with all these NFL coaches being fired, he may hook up with another guy that he's got a relationship in the NFL. Jake Peets, I do know they like him a lot, and they got to pay him $1.2 million for 2 years anyway. Wouldn't shock me to see him.
I'm told
stay
Kelly liked him immediately.
And so they could pay him that 1.2, but probably as an analyst.
Yep. Let's see. Dane Bergeron. Hello, guys. Late to the show tonight. Glad to have you with us, Dane. Charles Duncan, kickoff returns are rarely returned today. Punts are a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I just got to interject this. Buffalo is leading Kansas City by 3 points, Mike, with 13 seconds. And Sean McDermott, who's the coach of Buffalo, would not throw his kicker onto the bus today in the press conference. But can you imagine 13 seconds you're kicking off? Man, I'm thinking squib it or whatever you can do to make them touch it and get rid of 5 seconds and leave them 8. They kicked it in the end zone. They started at 25. Boom, boom, 2 plays. And they let Travis Kelce off the line of scrimmage without jamming him, a free run. Those defensive coaches are going to have one hellacious next 6 or 7 months.
There's been some great NFL playoff games in my lifetime, but never where you had
that kind of scoring at the end.
All the games on one weekend were like
best weekend.
ESPN classics.
And a lot of LSU flavor. That's what I'm saying. It bodes well with building that brand and that image back.
Scott Tron says, I was playing with the roster, and guys, it's not terrible. A well-coached team with these guys, I say 8 wins. And you think the non-conference schedule, combined with the way things shake out, could be better than people think.
Yeah. You just got, once again, if we said right now we went to Vegas, who's going to be your starting quarterback against Florida State Sunday night at Labor Day weekend in the Superdome? It's going to be packed. That stadium will be packed, probably. But
yeah, Florida State's going to buy all their tickets.
Well, but my point is that, I have no idea who I would predict. So.
Yeah. Tracy Watson Howe says, hey, buddy.
What's up, Trace?
C.J. Jones, hey, Mike, ask Buddy what his SEC West baseball predictions are and what SEC teams does he think make it to Omaha?
Oh, man, that's way too early for me. I will say this. Incredible every year. You hate to be an SEC homer. Show me a sport where they're not good. I mean, Mike, the top 10, the latest top 10 came in.
6.
LSU was, well, they were 10, 8, 3, and 4 in 4 different polls.
Yeah, there's 6.
But there's 6 SEC teams in the top 10.
Yeah, and by the way, if you want to go ahead and count Texas as an SEC team, 7.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Well,
crazy.
So it's a little early for me, but I will say that the one thing that Jay Johnson will not commit to is telling you how he's going to use his pitching staff. 16 different pitchers, and it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. But give me a couple of weeks of them playing ball before we throw that out there.
Let's see. Cason 83 via Moo. Where does Mathews, Citizen, and Perkins end up? I like Mathews to LSU. The Perkins stuff is very interesting. I tend to think, based on what he did yesterday, you would say that it's trending LSU. They get him on campus this weekend for an official visit. Citizen, is it Auburn? Is it Florida? I know he had a very good visit. Is it enough? But like I've said on this show the last couple of weeks, is it the end of the world if they don't get him?
Well, remember the famous
Noah Kane come in. Emery's going to be back 100%. Tyrion Davis-Price and others. And then next year you got Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly. And by the way, Caleb Jackson is we're going to see who the new coach at Liberty is going to be, because our good friend Coach Trosclair, who led them to the quarterfinals, or was it second round, whatever they call it. Lost to St. Thomas More at Olympia. I was there. He just took the head coaching job at Central Lafourche. So Caleb Jackson is going to have a new head football coach next year. So we'll be curious to see who that's going to be.
I was just going to interject. Remember the 5 for 5 and everybody was going crazy? They ended up getting the two of the 5. Jamal Adams and Leonard Fournette ended up getting the best 2. I'm feeling good. Got the black for the Saints and the LSU yellow. I'm going to go 3 for 3. I'm going to say they get Jacoby Mathews. They get Harold Perkins, although it's a shaky. And I'm giving a thumbs up on Citizen. For some reason,
Danny Lewis the same.
Danny Lewis, let's go 4 for 4. Oh, don't give me a 5 for 5. Then I'll have that 80% to Thomas Pittman come back and bite me.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm feeling good for all 3 of them. I hope I'm right. But Mike's a recruiting guru. I mean, why wouldn't you come right now?
Yeah, what am I talking about? Tyrion Davis-Price. He
This,
went pro.
hey, look, running back is a position that is going to be interesting to follow.
And how high does he go, by the way?
Got to catch the ball out the backfield and probably play special teams his first year. What's he going to do at the combine? What's he going to run at LSU track? All those things, but
And by the way, speaking of that, they're not going to be done at running back, I'm told,
right?
with transfer portal, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So,
And I agree. I think they need – now, look, John Emery, this is his money year. But he is not I mean, let's be honest. The last time we saw John Emery, I mean, you say, God, this guy would be incredible on the fade route. He's got to learn how to catch the ball. Joe Burrow threw him to the sidelines when he didn't pick up the blitz in 19. He's had some problems to overcome, academics and all that. He's going to want it. This is his money year. Corey Kiner, I think, is going to probably trim about 5 pounds. I think they'll have him leaner. And as you said, Noah Kane is a big back that gets those hard.
Plenty of backs.
Plenty of backs. But you want to have a difference maker in there, and we'll see who it becomes.
Yep, yep. And I still think we don't know what the end result or 100% whether it's – I don't think it's happening in the next week or two. But, you know, is there a Logan Diggs scenario in there come May or June?
That's the other thing. There's going to be activity, folks. You may not realize this. There's going to be activity after spring football. So, as you've said on numerous occasions, you're going to think we've got to figure they're going to leave 2 or 3 spots available.
I'm still watching Logan Diggs.
Yeah.
And that brings Charles Duncan says, "Does Armani Goodwin stick around?" I think
I've heard different things on him. So he had a bad ankle the whole year.
Go through spring football. I think then you see where it goes, and then some of them you're gonna understand.
Yeah.
A lot of bodies there.
Yeah.
Let's get a few more in here, guys. Do me a favor. Again, please hit the like button and share it on your social media. And if you're following us either on Facebook or YouTube, please hit the like button on the page in the following settings on Facebook. Be sure to set it so you get the alerts when we go live. And, of course, we think you get the best experience on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button there and the notification bell. Reed Wilson. I would love Logan Diggs. Yeah, Logan Diggs is, of course, LSU went in and offered him late a couple of years ago, and that was a mistake. It was too late.
Frank Wilson and Hankton. By the way, Mike, I haven't totaled it up. I'll have it in the next couple of weeks. But if you believe in a second life, then you probably want to come back in your second life as an LSU assistant coach. Now, Cortez Hankton, of course, is going to get $900,000 a year. Frank is going to get $1 million and has some incentives in there. But everybody is excited about what these two guys are going to do, locking down the state, moving forward. And I think when you look at where they started and the slow start because of just getting acclimated, and look, you still don't have Matt House here. You get him on staff and you get him here, man, moving forward, and all these support people that know about NIL and have relationships all over, I think LSU is going back to the good old glory days. Now, how long will it take, and will people be patient enough? That's something that we got to wait to see.
Preston Guy says, y'all make sure to stick around. LSU Football Fix goes live on this channel at 8 o'clock, and his guest is going to be Breeden Fehoko, and so that ought to be a good one. So, yeah, we have a doubleheader tonight on our YouTube and Facebook channels, and that's Preston coming up in about 6 minutes or so.
And listen, I have been told this. I didn't want to break this story for Preston, but Preston supposedly is going to do the haka tonight. Breeden Fehoko and him are going to do that haka.
Well, that room where Preston does his show, there's no way that he has near enough room to move around the way.
But how cool was that to see Breeden and his daddy do that stuff before the game, and their family and all the LSU? It is a potpourri of this whole world with nationalities and cultures and food and all that. How cool was that?
That was another example of like when Brian Kelly was the guy. Like, well, what are you doing going up there and getting that Yankee? You know, a guy from Massachusetts that was born and raised. And, like, man, have you not been paying attention to what look at the coaches in the LSU history. Dale Brown from Minot, South Dakota.
Yeah.
Skip Burtman, a Jewish guy from South Florida, Miami. Nick Saban, Les Miles, on and on. Jerry DiNardo, Peter Diakowski driving down here in his Trans Am from Canada.
Yeah.
We love the outsider here.
Yeah.
So.
But Breeden Fehoko is a great guy, and I'm sure he'll be a lot of fun on the show. And really enjoyed Jimmy and Robin Burrow last week.
Yeah, that was really good. Mark J., great show, guys. Go Tigers. Michael Roby asked Buddy, Bianco was the leader of the team at the end of the year. Does he get any playing time?
Drew Bianco?
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. He obviously lost a lot of weight. Then he got hurt. Then he came back. And I got to be honest with you, I hadn't heard his name mentioned a whole lot. But LSU is loaded with position players. So I think right now he's probably on the outside looking in. But you know how these seasons are, Mike. There's been an injury karma bug over Baton Rouge and New Orleans for the last couple of years with all the sports. He may get a chance again, but LSU has got more depth in baseball, especially with position players, than they've had in a long time.
Charles Duncan says Minot, North Dakota.
Yeah,
I should know that. Right. South Dakota is the one with the pretty governor.
Yeah, yeah. When I agreed with it, I knew right away it was North Dakota, but sorry.
Reed Wilson, Buddy, dude, I love you, man. You remind me of the fun times I would talk sports with my grandfather. You're sharp, my guy, and he gives you a thumbs up.
Oh, okay. Well, appreciate that. Hey, we just have a little fun. And you know, that point I was talking about with Sean Payton, Mike, why is it with football and sports, it is like a religion here. I mean, look, you realize with that announcement, there were people crying and going out and freaking out and going on social media. And you know why it is? Because the great people that follow LSU and live in this state, we're 48th, 49th, and 50th in a lot of damn important areas. And so you get a team and you grab onto it. And look, coinciding with Mike and Alex, the pride is coming back in LSU, brother. And it's going to be a fantastic year in 2022 for you Tiger fans. I really believe that.
Charles Duncan, Joe Burrow's from up north. That's right. We have had Australian punters. So there you go. What do we need now? A Kiwi from New Zealand? There's been Polynesian. There's no issues here.
No.
Bring them all. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. Please go subscribe to TigerBait.com. I think if you're an LSU fan, you'll really enjoy what we have to offer at TigerBait.com. And once you're subscribed, go to the Tiger Den message board, and one of the push pin posts is how to sign up your cell phone for text alerts. I don't spam you. I'm only going to hit you with the breaking news, and all of our subscribers say that's their favorite feature on TigerBait. So thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. Preston Guy going live at 8, and thanks again for all you guys tuning in. Thanks to Pride Roofing and Tony Freeman, and we'll be back here next week. Good night, guys.